haven't talked about is one key change that might come to the process, and that is if, in this effort to coalesce around a common objective, MPs decide that actually the best thing to do is to put this back to the people and have a second referendum.
I personally don't see what the second referendum will solve. I made it quite clear I was not going to be bound by the first referendum, these broad brush opinion polls on hugely complex subjects with a 52-48% result. I mean, I don't change my lifelong opinions on that basis, and I won't be bound by the second referendum, but I may find myself in the minority. I'm in the minority on my opinion of the first referendum.
Just to follow this through, we don't know what MPs are going to decide. We then don't know how the government is going to respond to it. It seems to me, your word at the beginning, shambles, may well continue for many more days of complete uncertainty, and yet there is one thing that is quite certain. The European Union won't negotiate anymore. They say the deal is on the table, take it or leave it, and they say if you don't come up with approval of Theresa May's deal, then on April 12th you will leave the European Union unless you give us a very good reason why you shouldn't.
No, let's get things clear. The EU are waiting to negotiate with us. They're hoping to negotiate with us. They quite rightly won't renegotiate the terms of withdrawal deal, which is this little preparatory agreement on citizens' rights, the money, and Ireland, which I support. I vote for it. Quite harmless. The right wing of my party invented all these crank theories that it was a wicked continental plot to trap trappers in their fiendish ways, which is a lot of nonsense. The Irish backstop's a temporary thing which should probably never be brought in, and is obviously temporary if it is, and there's nothing wrong with the Irish backstop anyway. So what they want us to do is move to the serious negotiations on the long-term arrangements, and I think the House of Commons may well do that.
I just wonder whether you're reading Europe the right way. Let me quote to you Emmanuel Macron. In the case of a negative vote, and he meant a new negative vote on Theresa May's deal, we will be going to no deal, he said. We all know that. It is absolutely essential to be clear, because it is a matter of the good functioning of the EU. We cannot have what I would call an excessive new extension.
Perfectly reasonable position for him to take up before one of the councils. What the last council agreed was, if Theresa's deal is rejected again, I don't think Theresa's deal is likely to be brought back before the House of Commons, but if it's rejected again, then we go back before May with an arrangement which we suggest what we then do. She can go back and seek an extension and say, let us start on the outline of where we're going. And, of course, eventually you'll have to expect the withdrawal agreement, but when you see where you're going, I can't see how anybody maintains the slightest objection to the withdrawal agreement, which is quite harmless.
You say you, as a Conservative MP, do not think that Theresa May will bring her deal back to be voted on for a third time because you think she can't get the vote.
Unfortunately, she does. I can't vote for it. It's quite harmless.
Yeah. Do you think she should resign, I suppose, is the real question?
No, I don't think she should resign. Not because she's actually handling things magnificently, and she is at the moment under a very great deal of pressure, and people are very critical of her on all sides.